Good afternoon, I'm Rob Boskamp, and you're listening to South Texas Midday. It's Wednesday, September 24th. A proposed brackish groundwater deal could bring up to 10 million gallons per day into Corpus Christi's water supply. That was presented at yesterday's City Council meeting. The deal involves the South Texas Water Authority and Seven Seas Water Group. STWA would not produce the water itself. Instead, it would purchase it directly from Seven Seas.
If we enter an agreement in October to buy water from South Texas Water Authority, is there going to be some conversation about some funds set aside in case there's a failure in the pipeline, or does South Texas Water Authority indemnify the city should it not be able to move that amount of water to the city of Corpus?
Mr. Risley,
that is of great concern to me, to turn that pipeline around and have a take-or-pay contract that relies on a third party's operation.
That was at-large Councilman Mark Scott and Seven Seas attorney Charlie Zahn speaking at yesterday's meeting. KRAS 6 News reports that STWA signed an agreement with the company last year. Under the plan, Seven Seas would initially supply 3 million gallons per day, with the potential to expand to 13 MGD if Corpus Christi joins the project, 10 million gallons of which would be earmarked for the city. And City Council approved many items during its regularly scheduled meeting yesterday. Among those include several major infrastructure measures totaling $54.7 million that bundles several multi-million-dollar road projects, including a $12.5 million major reconstruction of Starlight Lane from Violet Road to Leopard Street. Construction will begin next month and wrap up in January of 2027. The city will also proceed with an $18.6 million critical infrastructure upgrade at Williams Lift Station to assist with wastewater collection. Council also approved $10 million in construction between two contractors for the Sand Dollar Connection water line on North Padre Island. A green light was also given to a traffic management technology program for $1.8 million. Improvements will be implemented in two phases over the next year. And Council approved Type B funding for a $34 million hospitality development project on the Padre Island seawall that combines two Marriott brands, a conference center, and a restaurant bar. Kingsville City Commissioners postponed a decision over the employment agreement for newly appointed city manager Charlie Sosa. KRAS 6 News reports this is the second time the court has postponed this particular agenda item. The court spoke for about 30 minutes during executive session on Monday. Sosa was appointed to the position on August 25th. If the contract was signed, the city manager would get paid $180,000 annually. If Sosa is terminated under the signed contract, he would receive 20 weeks full salary. The next meeting will be held on Tuesday, October 14th. This week, McAllen's city manager Isaac Tawil invited the community to discuss code enforcement actions happening in the downtown area.
What I don't want is an environment where it is the police out removing people because nobody wants to be around that. And so how can we operate in a way that is responsible and conducive to people wanting to be there?
That was Tawil speaking at Monday's meeting, courtesy of Valley Central News. He previously stated that enforcement would not be enough on its own and called on the city, businesses, and property owners to collaborate. The crackdown in the entertainment district began after a viral video circulated of a McAllen police officer being assaulted after attempting to break up a fight between clubgoers. A Cameron County beach patrolman made a disturbing discovery recently while returning from a fishing trip.
I saw what I thought was a small dolphin washed up, so I stopped to check it out, and when I walked up to it, it was definitely not a dolphin. It's something I'd never seen before.
That was Gene Gore, who came across a dead pygmy sperm whale washed up on the shore. He explained to Valley Central News he was worried the dead animal would be scavenged by wildlife. Thus, he loaded the 4-foot whale into his truck and took it to UTRGV's Coastal Studies Lab. He believes the whale was caught in an illegal fishing net. The Texas Marine Mammal Stranding Network is investigating the cause of death. This marks the 41st documented pygmy sperm whale stranding in Texas since 1980 and the 5th in the South Padre Island area. Last week, the Victoria ISD Board of Trustees authorized school officials to explore contracts with two architectural firms for pre-bond planning services. 25 News Now reports the district is considering RMA Architects and PBK Architects. The firms would use project rankings from the Bond Action Committee to develop cost estimates for a potential May 2026 bond package. The district expects the committee to receive cost estimates in November with a board presentation in December. This past Monday, the Refugio County Commissioners Court unanimously approved the county's fiscal 2023-24 financial audit after a detailed report from independent auditor Armstrong, Vaughn and Associates. The Refugio County Press reported that the audit found no material or significant findings, but recommendations were made. On the county's finances, general fund revenues rose last year, aided by a tax rate increase, while spending fell because contingency funds went unused, jail costs declined, and some expenses were shifted to grants. In state news in Dallas this morning, at least one person is dead after a person opened fire outside a U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement detention facility. 2 more victims were taken to the hospital. According to the agency's director, the shooter is dead from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. The identity of the victims are still unknown at this time. As more information is uncovered, tune in to the Texas Standard and All Things Considered. Business leaders are trying to figure out how they'll deal with President Trump's recent executive order, putting a $100,000 fee on H-1B visas, fees businesses usually pay. Experts believe it could lead to U.S. companies, including those in Texas, to struggle with bringing in highly skilled foreign workers on the specialty occupation visas. The Texas Newsroom's Blaze Gainey has the details.
For tech startups, hiring specialized employees is a necessity, and sometimes that means looking abroad. Then companies need to get those workers H-1B visas so they can come to the U.S. That used to cost, on average, less than $5,000. Mike Coffey is president of Imperative Information Group and a Texas Association of Business chairman.
My concern about the $100,000 number is that it makes it difficult for small firms to compete for talent with large firms that can eat that cost.
He says the change is likely an attempt to prevent businesses from gaming the system by hiring foreign workers for less money, but its effects will be wide-reaching. Coffey thinks the visa cost may go back down in the future, specifically for people with high-demand skills. I'm Blaze Gainey in Austin.
It's been 8 years since cities and towns across the country removed Confederate monuments from public spaces due to outcry over what they represent. Many of those statues have been sitting in storage ever since. Now, a private park near Seguin is assembling a collection of Confederate statues from across the state. Texas Public Radio's David Martin Davies reports.
With that, a statue of an unnamed Confederate soldier was hoisted up by crane and removed from a 2-story tall marble pedestal. This was the early morning hours of September 1st, 2017, just hours after the San Antonio City Council voted 10-1 to remove the controversial statue from downtown's Travis Park, where it had stood for 118 years. It was moved into storage. Few have seen that statue since.
In fact, I just put eyes on him on Friday.
Craig Russell was able to check out the statue and the deconstructed base. His nonprofit, SS American Memorial Foundation, will be taking possession of them.
They're in a warehouse. They're all boxed up and look pretty good shape.
Russell is collecting multiple Confederate memorials that Texas cities removed from public view.
Then we've got a couple of others from Dallas, little ones from Brownfuls, and then I'm trying to get to Houston has some in storage.
Working with the United Daughters of the Confederacy, Russell plans on placing the memorials at his family's property near Seguin, known as the Lazy U Ranch, which is also used as a sanctum for wounded veterans.
It's going to be a part of a 70-acre nature therapy ranch. Our location is a better rest facility for the far better fence. This will be an educational component because the public and private schools use our location for respite education center type thing.
The San Antonio Confederate Monument and many others were removed during a national debate following the 2015 Charleston church shooting and then the 2017 Unite to Right rally in Charlottesville.
I'd rather see them in one place than scattered all over the place.
Former San Antonio City Council member and civil rights activist Mario Salas was a leading voice in calling for the removal of San Antonio's Confederate monument, but he's not concerned that it's finding a new home.
Because they represent hatred, they represent slavery, they represent all of the things that this nation doesn't need to stand for. So people who still don't understand the history of the Civil War, and they want to go look at those things, then have at it. They are free to do so.
Russell rejects the idea that collecting the Confederate monuments perpetuates racial hatred. He says his objective is to teach history, including the Civil War.
It is the greatest conflict, and that's what we teach out here. It is the conflict that sets the standard for our country, where we are today. Right, wrong, or indifferent. And that's what you see in the memorial. You see American history. You see the sacrifice. Right, wrong, or indifferent.
However, Revika Majlish of the Southern Poverty Law Center says the history told by the Confederate monuments is from the point of view of the lost cause.
Not only are they offensive, they're symbols of white supremacy, they're symbols of a struggle to fight against the United States of America to defend slavery, but they also represent or are part of a massive propaganda campaign to rewrite history, to erase the true meaning of the Civil War and the horrors of slavery.
In a statement, the city of San Antonio said it was satisfied that the SS American Memorial Foundation would not repurpose the monument to promote pro-Confederacy or a radical right agenda, and that the organization is committed to displaying the monument with appropriate context. I'm David Martin Davies in San Antonio.
And in sports, Astros right-handed pitching prospect and former Corpus Christi Hook Alimber Santa was named a 2025 Texas League All-Star. Minor League Baseball made the announcement yesterday. Santa, promoted to AAA Sugarland at the end of July, went 3-1 with a 1.26 ERA and 1.02 WHIP in 31 games from the Corpus Christi bullpen this season. The 22-year-old from the Dominican Republic struck out 63 against 35 hits and 23 walks in 57 innings. He was also named Astros MILB Pitcher of the Month back in May. And that is the latest news and information on South Texas Midday. I'm Rob Boskamp. Your community arts calendar and more is on the way.